Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Hello students, welcome to the video lecture series. Hello students, welcome to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University video lecture series. I am Dr. Deepal Pandya, Assistant Professor English, School of Humanities and Social Science. In this video lecture, we are going to talk about literary terms, part 2. So, let's find out what is called literary terms. Literary terms refer to the technique, style and formatting used by writers and speakers to emphasize, embellish or strengthen their writings. So literary terms is a kind of style and technique which is used to make the writing or the speaking very much effective and strong. Now let's find out what are the literary terms we are going to talk in this video lecture. So the first literary term that we are going to talk about in this video lecture is Gothic. So the term applies to literature, architecture and other forms of arts. Gothic fiction combines horror and romanticism. For example, Horace Walpole's The Castle of Otranto, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and Radcliffe's Udolpho can be considered as the Gothic fiction. So in Gothic fiction you will find out some kind of horror atmosphere or the ghost or the environment that is very much scary and supernatural elements. Now let's find out what is called Hellenism. The term Hellenism used in literary discussions refers stories, novels, dramas or poetry that has been inspired by classic Greek literature or makes use of classic Greek style forms. For example, James Joyce's Ulysses is a modern telling of the Odysseys. Next literary term that we will talk about is Imagism. Imagism was a movement in early 20th century Anglo American poetry that preferred the exactness of imagery and clear, sharp language. So the language that is used in Imagism is so clear and so sharp that you can see the vivid picture of the description. For example, poems by James Joyce that use clear, concise language to clear the picture in the mind of the readers. Judicial criticism. Judicial criticism is one of the kind of criticism and it can also be considered as the literary term. It tends to pronounce the judgments of the literary works used on certain rules. The set of rules are derived from ancient Greek and Roman masters. So the ancient Greek and Roman masters has provided a certain set of rules which are applied on the literary book and then find out whether the literary text is good or not so good. And that will be called judicial criticism. Linguistics. As we know the sciences such as physics, chemistry, biology, linguistics is also a kind of science. Linguistics is a scientific study of language which includes the understanding of morphology, syntax and phonetics. Mimesis. Mimesis is an ancient Greek term used in literary terms and philosophy that carries a wide range of meaning including imitation, non-sensuous similarity, receptivity, representation, mimicry, the art of expression, the act of resembling and the presentation of itself. Multiculturalism. Multiculturalism has a range of meanings within the context of sociology, of political philosophy and of colloquial use. It is the way to respond the cultural and religious diversity. So the religious and cultural diversity around the globe is approached and addressed, which will be called multiculturalism. Naturalism. Naturalism is a movement which was first determined by the French author Émile Zola. Naturalism is a literary movement beginning in the late 19th century, similar to literary realism in its rejection of Romanticism, but distinct in its embrace of determinism, detachment, scientific objectivism, and social commentary. The movement largely traces to the theories of French author Émile Zola. Orientalism. Edward Said is the pioneer of Orientalism, and he has written a book with the same title, Orientalism. So, Orientalism is the imitation or depiction of aspects in the Eastern world. These depictions are usually done by writers, designers, and artists from the West. Psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis or psychoanalytical literary criticism is literary criticism or literary theory which is method, concept, or form is influenced by the tradition of psychoanalysis begun by Sigmund Freud. So, in certain novels or in certain literary texts, you may find certain characters who have kind of compulsion disorder or bipolar disorder, or they have the habit of doing something constantly. So, these kind of psychoanalytical activities, they come up with some more effect in writing, and that's why it is used as one of the literary criticism or literary theory. Pluralism. Pluralism is a political philosophy holding that people of different beliefs, backgrounds, and lifestyles can coexist in the same society and participate equally in the political process. So, no matter what religion or what belief or what background people may have, they all have the equal rights and they can participate equally in any political process, and that will be called pluralism. Subaltern. The subaltern theory is very much famous, and the person who is related to that is Gayatri Spivak. She has written a very famous essay called Can the Subaltern Speak? A subaltern is someone with a low ranking in a social, political, or other hierarchy. It can also mean someone who has been marginalized or oppressed. Structuralism. Structuralism is a general theory of culture and methodology that implies that elements of human culture must be understood by way of their relationship to a broader system. Stream of consciousness. Stream of consciousness is a narrative mode or method that attempts to depict the multitudinousness or the multitudinous thoughts and feelings which pass through the mind of a narrator. So the novels which has stream of consciousness term, they generally have the narrators who are speaking sentences or who have their thought process going on in their mind, which is depicted in the novels. So you will find the sentences are extra long, extra large sentences. The full stop may come after 2 or 3 sentences. Why? Because they are the kind of thought process going on in the narrator's mind. For example, James Joyce Ulysses and Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway are the example of stream of consciousness novel. Thank you so much. That's it for this video lecture.